The Auschwitz camp was established by the German authorities on the outskirts of the occupied Polish town of Oświęcim in the spring of 1940. The camp was set up within a complex of buildings that, before the war, had served as Polish army barracks.
The site included 22 brick buildings, 14 single-story and 8 two-story structures. Most of these were repurposed into prisoner barracks surrounded by a double barbed wire fence. The entrance to the camp was marked by a gate bearing the infamous inscription Arbeit macht frei, work sets you free. The two-story buildings were turned into SS offices. One became the headquarters of the camp commandant and the other housed a hospital for the SS personnel. Nearby barracks were turned into storage facilities and workshops. The construction and subsequent expansion of the Auschwitz camp led to the displacement of local residents.
In October 1940, the expansion of the camp began. Additional floors were built onto the existing single-story buildings. Then, in the centre of the camp, on what had served as the roll call square, 8 new two-story blocks were constructed. Later additions included a wooden bathhouse, a laundry and a parcel sorting building. A brick building for SS administrative offices was also built, along with garages and further storage and workshop facilities. The camp kitchen and the prisoner intake building were expanded. Already in the early days of the camp, cremation ovens were installed in a pre-war storage building, creating Auschwitz's first crematorium. In 1941, the adjacent morgue was converted into a gas chamber.
Most of the buildings in the main camp served as prisoners' living quarters. On average, about 700 people were held in a single block, but in some cases that number rose to as many as 1,200. Several blocks also housed, among others, a prisoner clothing depot, a hospital, administrative offices, disinfection chambers, bathhouses, and a photographic studio. In Block 10, SS doctors carried out medical experiments on female and male prisoners. In the basement of Block 11, detention cells were constructed and used as part of the camp's internal prison.
In October 1941, 9 blocks to the left of the main gate were designated as a separate camp for Soviet prisoners of war. Around 10,000 POWs were imprisoned there. They were primarily used to construct the camp that was being built for them, Auschwitz II-Birkenau. Most of them soon perished. In the spring of 1942, about 600 prisoners who had survived were transferred to Birkenau, and the blocks they had occupied were reintegrated into the main camp structure. In that same spring of 1942, blocks 1 through 10 were separated from the rest of the camp by a wall made of concrete panels, forming the first women's camp. Female prisoners remained there until August 1942, when a separate women's camp was created in Birkenau. At that time, the dividing wall was dismantled.
The SS also had ambitious plans for a massive expansion of the main camp. The project included the construction of dozens of new two-story blocks, as well as a new commandant headquarters and a residential housing estate for SS men. This plan was only partially realized. On land adjacent to the camp, 20 two-story buildings were erected, known as the camp extension, or Lagererweiterung. These housed, among other things, storage units, workshops and temporary SS barracks. The highest prisoner population in Auschwitz I was reached in the summer of 1944, totaling around 18,000 people.
Auschwitz was continually expanded, eventually consisting of 3 main parts: Auschwitz I, Auschwitz II-Birkenau, and Auschwitz III-Monowitz, along with about 50 subcamps.